Welcome to Business Beyond the Game. I'm your host, Eric Jackson, and today we're joined by a special guest, retired WNBA player, who also happens to be the mother of last season's NBA Rookie of the Year, and budding media personality, podcast host. We have Rhonda Smith-Banchero. Rhonda, how are you?
I'm really great. How are you?
Great. I'm glad to bring you in the studio today. How's New York treating you so far?
It's a little busy, a little crowded, but I'm getting used to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Rhonda, you're not the typical NBA mom, right? You've had plenty of experiences. How would you say your experience being a star at the University of Washington and also playing, pro overseas and, the WNBA, how did that shape you, just kind of molding Paolo, your son, and, preparing him for his own life today in the NBA?
Yeah, I think, those unique experiences really helped me help him. So if we take just the college experience being recruited, I was highly recruited as well coming out of high school. So was he, obviously. So I was able to kind of give him a little bit of, advice about how to talk to coaches. Probably the best answer after yes is no. Coaches really appreciate saying no. And then just, other little pointers throughout the time that really helped him kind of be more prepared or not be surprised by things that were coming his way.
Yeah, did he have a choice early on, or was it like, yo, you're getting into basketball, we're signing you up right now? What was that dynamic like, just as growing up for him?
Well, he was almost a 10-pound baby, so we knew that he was going to be a big kid. So we wanted to make sure that we put a ball or something in his hands, just so he at least could be coordinated. Right. If he was going to be a 7-foot pianist, great, but we wanted him to be coordinated and be comfortable with his height, and so we put the ball in his hand early, and we just decided wherever he decided to kind of direct his attention, we would entertain that and make sure that he had the best of the best, and that's what we did. And basketball was what obviously ultimately he chose, but he ran track and was successful as a youth in Junior Olympics and in the long jump, and he also was a pretty good quarterback. And played in the junior All-American game. So his sporting prowess was there from very early on.
Gotcha. The quarterback, that makes sense. The Patrick Mahomes joke, I know you know the whole thing, which is funny. My mother, she used to always just kind of tell me to save your money and just be wise about your finances. And I'm curious for you, Rhonda, how much have you just had those discussions with Paolo, and what advice have you been, business lessons that you've tried to instill in him early on?
Yeah, we're pretty frugal as a family. We do well, but we have 3 kids and they've all gone to private schools, so there wasn't just money to be thrown away, but we did well enough to be able to pay for them to go to school, and then also philanthropic endeavors. He's always seen us going to auctions and nonprofit events, and so he knows that giving is a part of receiving. And he's very fortunate, and it's something that I know that he'll think about later. But just generally speaking, I think when my husband and I talked to him, we wanted to make sure he had a good team of money consultants, right. But also, when he has to write that tax check, he writes it, just to make sure that he understands, the gravity of the situation and what he's responsible for. And we just want him to live his best life and not really have to worry about those things, and I think he's done a good job of that.
How do you balance that, right? You want to give him, obviously, priority being the mother, and you give your own financial advice, but he also has a team too, and he's his own man as well. How do you kind of navigate that sort of relationship, right?
It's ongoing. It's just in his second year. So,
right.
It's still something that, he has to think about and we talk about. But it's a team of people that I think we all chose.
Trust. Right.
And, Paolo being young, being, almost 21, it's something that, again, you want him to be able to focus on his craft. And he's got the things that he has set up, and he, lives within those things. And, one of the things we have said to him, and other people have said to him, mentors around the league that have talked to him, is that, this, whatever you're going to make, this wonderful blessing that you have monetarily, it's going to have to last you your whole lifetime. And so you want to be really smart about that.
No, I love that for sure. And when Paolo is part of this new wave of college athletes, right? Especially stars being able to be compensated for their name, image, and likeness. And what advice would you give to other basketball moms and others trying to navigate this landscape, between recruiting, and it's very unpredictable right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is you got to keep the main thing the main thing. The reason that NIL is even an option for any of these athletes is because of their athleticism, is because of their sport. And so don't let the promise of money and people in your ear talking to you about what they can do for you get in the way of why they're even talking to you in the first place. The other thing is get a really good tax accountant. That's probably one of the biggest things that,
It's probably not talked about enough in the NIL era, taxes, right?
It's not talked about at all.
Yeah.
The folks who are blessing these kids with this NIL money are not taking taxes out. And that's going to be something that, IRS, they don't care who you are, they don't care what your name is, they don't care what sports you play, they're going to get their money. And so, you got to be ready to take that 30% and put it away so that when Uncle Sam comes calling, you're able to pay.
Yeah, you're right. The Irish, they don't care what you did on the field or court, right? Absolutely. For you, Rhonda, obviously you have the WNBA background. You play for the Sacramento Monarchs. I'm curious your thoughts on just this wave of investment and just in women's sports overall, and not just the WNBA, but overall across the landscape.
Sure. I wish it would have happened earlier.
Right.
When I was playing, but I'm just really happy to see the investment. The Aces with their new facility. Obviously, they're back-to-back champions. I mean, investment really matters, and I think investment really goes a long way to creating a winning culture. And it's just the reality of things. It boosts fan support because the fans have a good experience when they come to the games, and so it's just really nice to see the WNBA really flourishing, and I'm hoping that translates to salaries in the next 2 to 3 years. But I think with Golden State announcing that they're going to have a new WNBA
Bay Area team,
I think that's going to be really great. They've got a really great fan base, so it'll be really great to see how they can expand in markets that I think will be able to provide the fan support.
Are you surprised to see the state of it now, coming from the Monarchs and other, playing overseas? I'm curious if you think, are you surprised to see the state of it now with, celebrity, high-profile investors, it's different people in the space?
Yeah, I think that no. I think the women's game has evolved, and so I think that naturally the women's professional game has evolved. So I'm not surprised to see where the game is. I guess maybe I'm surprised to see how long it's taken, because women's basketball has been around forever, and it's been popular forever, and it's had a fan base forever, and so really being able to see how the game has expanded, how the fan base has expanded, it's surprising to see that it's taken this long. But hey, we're here now, so
you're like about time, right? Still a long way to go, right? Come a long way, but still a long way to go for sure. Being you guys have deep roots in Seattle, I have to ask you, what's your elevator pitch to Adam Silver to get an NBA team back to Seattle?
Well, Adam, there's 4,000 people a month moving to the Seattle area. Tech has really expanded and blown up. The fan base, we've been itching for a team since our city council voted by a very narrow margin to sell the team. And I think that, we're ready. We're ready again, and we're ready to support. So you've got a fan base waiting, you've got an arena waiting, you've got a great sports with the Seahawks, the Kraken, the Mariners. So it's just natural that we bring an NBA team back. So what are you waiting for?
You feel like it's coming, though. I'm sure you feel you've seen the reports. I'm sure you feel like
I feel like it's going to happen.
Yeah. Rhonda, we just winding down here. You've touched different spaces, like I said, overseas, and your playing career, and even now as a director of equity inclusion, right, in the Seattle area. Just what's the best business lesson that you've learned in your career, you'd say? Or one of them?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I think it's that you can't do anything. You're not by yourself. You're not on an island. You need a team, and you need to, be willing to be flexible and listen to your teammates, because ultimately the success is only going to come if you're all on one accord.
Love that. Teammates, even post career, still have your teammates as coworkers.
Absolutely.
Love that.
Absolutely.
Trust your team. Well, Rhonda, thank you so much for coming. Appreciate you. And thank you, folks, for watching Business Beyond the Game.